Well, hi everybody, it's your old pal Cameron from Clock Expert, and today I'm going to show you a simple method of turning a paper plate into a quartz clock. You are going to need a paper plate, you're going to need a clock movement. You could do this with wind-up clocks, but that might be hard though, because it's easy to take a movement like this and connect it to the back of a paper plate. You're going to need clock hands. You could use a second hand, but I'm not going to. This movement did not come with the second hand. You're going to need a pencil and a battery for the clock to run. So let's get started. Alright guys, let's get started. It is a little dark over here, so I brought my lamp over here and I plugged it in, and let's just turn it on. There we go. And I forgot to mention that you are going to need a washer and a nut. And most clock movements have a shaft with little threads that are able to hold that little nut, and that's going to hold it to the back of the clock. So let's just take this stuff off of here, and well, let's start drawing. Okay, that was my regulator clock. Hold on, let me turn it on. Let me adjust. Oh, sorry. Let me adjust this. There we go. So what I like to... This thing is stubborn, so I'm using my tire bucket to hold this up if you haven't seen it. It's a bucket of tires. Ugh, stop it. So, what I like to do is I like to draw like a little dot on the center there. There we go, that's the center. Look at how perfect that is. Now let's draw the numbers. So what I like to do is I like to do Roman numerals. And this bucket, let me just move this. Let's just turn it this way. So what I like to do is I like to do Roman numerals like that. I didn't do a very good job, but whatever. And then I like the clocks that only have like 4 numbers or numerals. One here, like the 12, the 3, the 6, and the 9. Okay, so I drew the face. That's the clock face so far. I had to erase a couple of mistakes, but we did some Roman numerals. And what I suggest for the 5 or the 6 is, yeah, put a 5 and then a 1, or a V and an I, so that way it's a 6. And then 3 I's for the 3, an X and 2 I's for the 12, and an X with an I on the other side for the 9. You're going to take your pencil and you're just going to make a hole where you drew your dot, like that. And then do it on the other side. And then... Okay, so that should be good. You're going to take your clock movement and you're going to fit it into the back of the clock, like so. So you just want to put that in there, and as you can see, it worked. Let's adjust this. Where's the top? That's the top. So there we go. Okay, so earlier I mentioned that we had to use a brass nut and a brass washer, and that's because it's going to hold our movement to the back of the clock. You could use some tape though. I've seen people do tape, but you know, most clock movements do this method. You could do both, the nut and the thing. Why won't that go in there? It's a little loose. There we go. Okay, so that looks good so far, and let's put the hour hand on there. Where's the 12? The 12 is up here. So I'm going to get it shooting straight up to the 12, and at this point you can maybe bend it or move it back and forth a little bit to really get it in there. And same thing for the minute hand. So you're going to press it on there. Some clock movements have a little nut to screw the minute hand on there, and at this point you can then take your hands and then bend them into shape. And if your clock is still a little bit wobbly, you might want to put some tape in there. but mine seems to be about good. It won't wobble or swivel. Alright, let's put that battery in there. It just slips in there. Positive, negative. Okay? First thing it's going to do is it's going to start ticking. Don't know if you can hear that. There's no second hand, so we can't really tell. It ticks. Don't know if you can hear that. I'm holding it up to the volume. And I had to make a few adjustments in with the nut. I had to retake everything apart because it didn't go all the way down. And now that it is, it's perfectly good. We can change the time on this. Right now it's 8 o'clock. So let's go to the 8 o'clock position. So at this point you can hang your clock up. You can puncture a little hole at the top if you want to. Hold on. There we go. You can then make like a hole here so you can hang it, or you can do whatever you want. And by the way, it doesn't have to be a paper plate. And you could also use one of the pendulum movements. You could use a radio or atomic. You could use like a radio controlled or an atomic clock movement if you want. As long as the battery is okay, you're good to go. Alright, so here's the finished clock. Here's what it looks like. I need to adjust the movement. Here we go. Let's turn this light off. It's being annoying. Actually, no, that was a bad idea. Make little indications for the numbers. You don't have to put all the numbers, but you could put like little marks, like I did with here and over here. And yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. Have you ever wondered what's inside of this clock movement? Well, let's see. Let's take out the battery and this little wheel here. Hold on. And let's remove the sides. I'm always careful with my clock movements. I'm known as the clock expert. Okay, so let's take this off. And that's what's inside of a clock movement. We got little gears.